All right. So this happened this week. User burned 600 ETH to send sci-fi message. Warning of Chinese use of brain-controlled devices. So if you don't know what ETH is, it's a crypto. Ethereum, one of the top three, worth about $1,600. So 600 ETH, burning it. It's like a transaction fee. It disappears forever. They spent almost $1 million to send money just on the fees to send more ETH in order to send a message. So that's some very expensive propaganda. I don't know who has that kind of money. That's a giant tax write-off of some sort, I'm sure. Says another 591 ETH was donated to WikiLeaks along with another message from the alleged whistleblower. So it's coming from a whistleblower. That's what it looks like. Very rich whistleblower, I may add there. So Ethereum transactions burning over 500 ETH and sending 591 ETH to WikiLeaks drew attention on Tuesday. So usually when you transfer or make purchases with cryptocurrency, you use a cheaper, like different currencies cost less or more depending on what they are. So sending Ethereum and paying for it like with Ethereum looks like it's very expensive. It costs almost the same amount. But you want to send, 200 of them, you're paying almost 200. So 591 for 500. That's over $2 million. That's what it looks like. Blockchain data showed that an account identified as Hu Lezi executed a series of transfers that included donations to WikiLeaks designated addresses, transfers to null addresses representing token burns. So that means they don't go anywhere. Can't use them. They're stuck there. It's like burning, actual burning, like paper. If we got rid of a lot of US currency, our currency would be worth more. But instead, all we do is print it, so it becomes worth less. And now it's worthless. Let's see. And payments to grant providers. The transactions totaling over 1,000 Ethereum over the past week were accompanied by on-chain messages in Chinese that allege misuse of emerging brain-machine interface technology. So if you remember that podcast not long ago where I talked about, it's like coming off of branching off of Neuralink, where they're going to start using it on prisoners. I don't know if they have yet, but pretty much you could serve your entire 30-year prison time in 10-20 minutes. All we're going to do is hook your brain up to a computer and pretty sure put them through hell. So it's supposed to like reprogram your brain. If you lived like a lifetime in 10 minutes and you wake up, you're all, oh, I'm fixed, I'm changed, I'm no longer a serial rapist or murderer. Or just simply going to pay your next parking tickets instead of forgetting about those. Let's see. Blockchain records indicate that one transaction burned 500 Ethereum on February 17th. That's one transaction. Damn. While additional burns of 70 Ethereum on February 15th and the 33rd, or 33 Ethereum on February 10th, highlight a pattern of financial activity that appears intended to signal protest. Other transfers include donations of 591 Ethereum and several other transactions ranging from 25 to 300 Ethereum. That doesn't seem like much, but each one of these, one ETH, is $1,600 right now. So that's actually insane. Says these transfers collectively signal a dual-purpose message, a reallocation of funds toward organizations associated with whistleblowing, and a symbolic act of value destruction. The combined translated burn messages read, so 2 points here, right? Giving money to whistleblower associations, and then a symbolic act of value destruction. So they're pretty much going, I'm doing it. They could do it cheaper, but they didn't. It was the whole point was, I'm destroying this. And it makes everyone else's worth more. So it's kind of like a whale dumping their bank account into nothing. The boss of Kwande Investment, Zin and Zhu Yuzi used brain-machine weapons to persecute all company employees and former employees, and even they themselves are also under control. That's from $1 million worth of Ethereum, burnt on February 17th. That's interesting. So, and this is the problem with AI, is that once they create a system like this where they can control you, can influence you, which they already have, they're already doing. People believe the towers are sending frequencies that are messing with people. I mean, people are pretty convinced that they already have the technology to be able to send advertisements to you when you're sleeping. This little influences, and they've been doing this kind of messaging, not broadcasting it remotely like that, but on TV, the radio, I mean, for a very long time. You know, subliminal messaging was just a drop in the bucket back in the day from what they actually had. So now you can only imagine the capacity that they have to be able to do these kinds of things. And it's disgusting. So all of a sudden you're going to be waking up wanting something crazy. And you're not going to know why. But yeah, future sponsors here. Some Liquid Death. They're not a sponsor, I just really want to. And out. Check us out, Tucker. Just two things. That'd be so sick to get sponsored by these guys. Liquid Death, if you guys haven't drank it before, I highly recommend water. Okay, instead of soda, 2 grams of sugar, and they're amazing. So yeah, someone reach out to Tucker Carlson, get us sponsored by Out. And I'll keep buying it. Number 2, as brain-computer interfaces and mind-reading technology continue to develop, a new form of crime has emerged. Wild animals have become puppets or complete slaves to digital machines. That was only 75 Ethereum, still a lot of money. Let's see, the third one. Another one. A new form of crime has emerged in which victims are gradually stripped of their desires and sensory experiences until they become complete slaves to digital machines. If one day I become a victim in the final stage, I would choose to leave this world. Victims are gradually stripped of their desires and sensory experiences until they become complete slaves to digital machines. Stripped of their desires and sensory experiences. That sounds a lot like reeling, doesn't it? People will just sit there instead of going out and doing something exciting out in the world. They'll just sit here and reel and reel and reel. And that dopamine is controlled now by the company, whichever one you're using to reel. And that little bit of hit of happiness. You gotta scroll, scroll, scroll. Yeah, $1,600. $1,660.56 per Ethereum at this moment. The accompanying messages allege that Feng Zin and Zhu Yushi of Quande Investment have employed brain-machine weapons to control employees and former staff. The text claims that as the brain-computer interfaces and mind-reading technologies develop, victims may gradually lose their desires and sensory experiences, eventually becoming complete slaves to digital machines. Millions in donations to WikiLeaks. One message concludes with a personal statement indicating that if the sender were to reach the final stage of this alleged process, they would off themselves. The funds sent to WikiLeaks, an organization historically associated with disclosures and investigative journalism, suggest an attempt to channel resources toward entities perceived as counterweights to institutional control. Interesting. Simultaneously, burning ETH, a process that permanently removes tokens from circulation, appears intended to symbolize resistance or repudiation of technologies purportedly used for coercion. Observers familiar with blockchain activity point to the public, irreversible nature of on-chain transactions as a mechanism to broadcast dissent and alert the community. So, look at how much money I'm destroying. It doesn't mean anything. This message is more important than millions of dollars. That's what they're saying. So, pay attention. I mean, it's not a scam, right? I don't think anyone would just do this for the fun of it. Feels like someone's actually trying to get a message out there. And from what I've seen, it's absolutely correct. And they're just telling on one company. Think about what's happening here with US companies or all over the world, right? Although the allegations regarding brain-machine weapons and digital enslavement evoke elements more common to speculative fiction than established technology, bullshit. We already did a podcast on that. They're actually, when they start talking about it, like in the future, a future of this, being able to, criminals doing their time in 10 to 30 minutes, that's technology they know they can use on you now. Right? They write these little fictional pieces to get your mind going. It's a seed. They plant that seed in your brain, right? That way when it comes out, it's not a, oh my God, where is this coming from? You know, kind of thing. It's something that you've heard of before. And that seed grows and grows and grows, and all of a sudden you're just like, yeah, that's what happens. People will be murdering each other and then out, you know, after the weekend, after they see the judge and yeah, walking out on a Tuesday morning. Spent 80 years in there, right? So it's not speculative fiction. It's way more than that. It is close to being established technology. I mean, we don't have it in our hands, so we can't say for sure, but these people, they brag about it. They talk about it like they do have it in their hands. It says, however, the deployment of such messaging alongside sizable financial transfers may reflect personal distress as well as a political statement. Absolutely. It also might mean that it's true and that they know what they're talking about. How do you get someone to listen today, right? A few years ago, conspiracy theorists and all these crazy things, right? It's not even, I hate the terminology, but it was just nuts to the average person. And I liked it better back then because now it's the average person has something crazy they subscribe to, and it's all about, I'm right, no, I'm right, no, I'm right. It's like, well, all of you are probably wrong if you're going to just say you're completely right, but pieces of everyone's, what they subscribe to, is probably correct in some way or another. So it was a lot better back then when people teamed up and tried to find answers than everyone believing that they already had the answers. It's a great infiltration by the powers that be to muddy that water by making everyone else do it themselves. So very interesting. Let me know what you guys think about this. Let's see, another message. Yeah, down in the comments. This is interesting stuff. I am Hu Lezi, an ordinary programmer and entrepreneur. Since October of 2022, I realized that I have been monitored and manipulated by brain-controlled organizations since birth, and when I realized the existence of brain-controlled organizations, they were also increasing the harm to me. I have lived in great pain for the past 2 years, and now I've reached the point where my dignity as a human being has been completely lost. I decided to leave this world and hope that this ugly world will be destroyed soon. Very unsettling. So that sounds like schizophrenic crazy guy, right? Until you look at how many scientists have just up and disappeared. And I believe almost all of them were putting out messaging a lot like this, right? So and the government's looking into that, so I'm sure we'll have answers soon. So some sort of psychosis rather than legitimately whistleblowing. I'm not too sure about that. These guys come out and do a big bang, and whichever way that means, and people don't want to listen to it, and then the next guy does it, and then the next guy, right? How many coincidences do we need until we start listening? So ends their donation message by saying, I decided to leave this world, hope that this ugly world will be destroyed soon. Maybe there's some sort of code in that. I don't want to think too hard about it, but that's interesting. These transactions occurred throughout the last week, although attention spiked today after the 500 Ethereum burn alongside the sizable donation to WikiLeaks. So my guess is the messages weren't standing out until the $1 million burn. Little is currently known about the wallet owner other than what is included within the messages. As of today, the most advanced brain-controlled chip known to the public is the Neuralink brain implant, also known as the Link. And like they say, they admit it right there, known to the public. Yeah, the public knows about it, but we have the military, right? Yeah, bullshit. This device represents a significant leap forward in brain computer interface, BCI technology, and has recently made headlines for its successful human implant. However, this device allows humans to control computers and other electronic devices, not the other way around. For now, until they flip that switch, right? And then they have artificial intelligence running everything. So, yeah, isn't that crazy? I had a theory back in the day about dubstep. The vibrations in it was like coding people. It was fun to think about. This is just blatant control. So, yeah, sign up for the new Neuralink update. It'll be like your phone where it starts getting slow if you don't buy a new one. Starts overheating, the battery only lasts an hour and a half. That's what'll happen. They have a, I believe it's Black Mirror episode about it where the person, yeah, it's a guy's wife. Anyway, she starts doing commercials. It doesn't realize she's doing it, just be sitting there and start advertising. So, yeah, let me know what you guys think down in the comments. If you're new, make sure to subscribe. YouTube, we are only 13 subs away from being monetized. So, it's a good benchmark there that we're about to hit. And of course, mainly on Rumble. Gotta support it. They were the only ones that let us have a platform for like 4 years. Alright, we'll catch you on the next one.